This week, we are bringing you some interviews that we did from the State of Women Conference. And I was lucky enough to get to talk to Ashley Osinski and Olivia Hare about working smarter in parenthood. So I hope you enjoy our conversation, and we'll talk to you next week.
Ourselves, especially as we're really leaning into this notion of like, how do I work smarter? And I think understanding the science behind why it is so important. It's not like, oh, take a bubble bath and you'll be a better mom, but there's just so much more to it. So Olivia, I want to start with you and kind of, can you help us understand why this self-care or self-prioritization is such a critical piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, so I know I've used the term a couple of times, but I'm huge on modeling because realistically, like kids are observing and learning constantly. We're all learning constantly, but especially kids, their like brain development is exponentially growing constantly. So modeling for them that like it's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to care for yourself, and that's actually important. It's not a frivolous waste of time thing. These are important things. So as a parent, when you're taking time for taking a bubble bath, going for a walk, going to the gym, just taking time to read or whatever is like fulfilling and refueling for you, that is worthwhile. It's not a waste of time. It's not this excessive thing, but an important tool in terms of like kind of keeping us regulated and balanced and fulfilled over time, because we can be a 12-hour-a-day mom for only so long, or like we can only go over the top for so long before we burn ourselves out. And so it's not sustainable. So we have to build habits that are going to be sustainable over time, while also modeling for our kids, like this is normal. It's normal and healthy and important to take care of ourselves and how that matches our needs and our values.
Thank you. Ashley, what thoughts do you have on this, and what ways do you prioritize yourself in motherhood?
So I kind of shared earlier that after my third was born, that's when it felt like everything really shifted, and we also had a pretty big loss in our family, and my husband was gone working all the time, and I was just like not at all prioritizing myself. I look at pictures and I'm like, whoa, I was tired and just rough, but I was trying to be everything to everyone, and I didn't want anyone to be uncomfortable or to feel sad or whatever, and so I was trying really hard there and prioritizing myself last. And at that time, I also started my parent coaching program, and the first course in this whole entire program for 3 months was all on self-care. And I remember being like, this is ridiculous at first. So like self-care, but it was true self-care, not like bubble baths, and which are nice, but that's not like true self-care. And I read a book by Julie Burton, and one of the quotes that I love is she says that as a wife and a mother, she realizes there are 3 absolutes. Someone will always need me. No one's ever going to hand me over the time I need to go take care of myself. And then I need to prioritize myself in order to show up as the mom and wife I want to be. And so I remember that quote just stuck with me, because it's also just this idea of like, no one's handing, that time over to me. Like I kind of kept waiting. I think for somebody to be like, you look like you need to go, I don't know, enjoy an hour or two, or like, you haven't worked out in like months, And so finally I realized I need to advocate for myself. Nobody else knows what I need. And so I had to really like step up and look at my habits and my routines and really start to say like, here's what I need. And that's when a lot of things started to shift, and I started to show up more for my kids. And I think to your point about the modeling, like they get to see that, oh, I go exercise because it helps me feel strong and have energy, and so you're modeling this stuff in a different way, which is cool. So that whole experience really shaped my self-care.
I love that. So one of the terms that Ashley introduced me to, or the phrases, is motherhood, not mother should. And it's this notion of how do we kind of build the self-trust within ourselves and our parenting abilities to know that what we're doing is right for us and our family and our kids, and it's not some standard or a way that we should be doing it. So this will be kind of our final topic here. But what are ways that moms can kind of look internally to trust themselves? We talk a lot, Whitney and I co-host a podcast, Capture Your Confidence, and we say that one definition of confidence that we love is self-trust. And so it's a skill and a muscle. And so I'm curious your thoughts on ways that moms can start to kind of flex that self-trust muscle. We'll start with you, Olivia.
Yeah, so it's funny, I'd never heard like motherhood versus motherhood, but the therapist joke is like, don't should on yourself. Because should statements automatically carry some like shame with them. Some automatic like, oh, I'm not doing the thing that I should be doing, I'm not enough. When in reality, the shoulds are kind of arbitrary. Like they're just societally set or generationally set, but they might not naturally be functioning for us in the way that we want them to or think they should. So something that I'm really big on too is looking at like the function of something. So what are we trying to achieve by doing X, Y, or Z? And is that actually functioning the way that we expect it to? If not, then maybe we need to tweak something a little bit. And it's okay for this process to kind of take time and evolve over time, because our kids' needs evolve over time, our needs and our inner resources evolve over time. So looking at like, again, what is the function? What are we trying to achieve here? And is it successful? And if not, we don't need to should on ourselves, but more tweak. What little tweaks would maybe help this process be more smooth or help us get to the goal that we're working towards more effectively?
So, Ashley, what are your thoughts?
So I think too that with our intuition, usually our intuition never starts with, or doesn't start with should, right? Should is usually, as you were saying, more of this place of like anxiety and shame. And so I think it's just getting curious when you start to feel like you should do something. Why is that? But in that quizzes we took, I think it's really important to start to figure out like what are our values. And that's when a lot of stuff really changed for me. It was like, is this in alignment with my values? And usually if it starts with I should do this, it's not in alignment with my values. And so getting clear on that. I will say I took like a 3-month social media break, and I could like hear my intuition again. I was like, oh no, but it's still there. That's what's going on. But like, I feel like when you're on social media and you see everything, it does get into that comparison, and it starts to really tune out our intuition because we're seeing what we think we should be doing. And so I think just taking that break sometimes and resetting can be really helpful too.
Thank you. All right, how about a big hand for our panelists?